Good evening and welcome to the Old World Show. We've got something a bit different today. We were struggling for ideas, really, so we figured rather than focusing on the big bads that seem to be going around the Royal Cohort, why don't we do an army overview? We were a bit unsure about what to do. Okay, so Andy, who is joining me today, had a really good idea to do a random army generator. First of all, how are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much.
Oh,
How
fantastic.
are you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing magnificent, thank you. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be quite a cool idea, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I had this idea to do a random army overview. So if you'll just bear with me, that the magic of cinema and all that kind of good stuff, we have a Wheel of Fortune. With all the
Ooh.
armies on there. Now you will notice there are some, obviously, that there's some missing. So there's no point in going through Khemri or Bretonians. Everybody knows what they do. They've been around since the beginning of the edition, and I feel like if we was to do an army overview, no one's going to learn anything. We're not going to learn anything. Andy plays Khemri, I play Bretonians, and you're all probably sick to death of them. So what we've done is we've taken those out. We're going to do an army Wheel of Fortune, okay? And whatever we get, we're going to talk about. Now, the interesting thing, Andy, is that we might not know what these armies do. Might not know anything about them, so it's going to be a learning experience for everyone involved, I'm sure. Are you excited, Andrew? Because I am
Yeah, I'm thrilled about
sweating with
this.
excitement. You're
How?
thrilled.
Yeah, it's like a little lottery. It's like, ooh, what are we gonna get?
Oh, it's going to be good. Maybe. Okay. Well, so without further ado, when do you want me to spin this there wheel? Shall I do it now?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
can't do much content about this without seeing what army.
This is very true. Okay.
Yes.
Three. Get some build up going. Three, two, one. Oh, okay. We've got a winner. We have Dark Elves.
Oh,
Okay.
I got a little applause and everything. That's cool.
Isn't that
Ah,
cool? I know.
firework display.
You know what? Apart from the adverts, no, we spare no expense. Okay, so right, we've done that. We've done that. Now let's get the Dark Elves going. So quite an interesting faction, to be fair, and one that has received a little bit of coverage, um, but we'll go for it anyway. Just so happens to be the one that's already on my phone, so that's good. All right, um, let's go, Andrew. Do you want to kick this off then? Should we start with a Grand Army composition?
Okay, so well, start off with Dark Elves. Is they are a legend army.
Mm-hmm.
Um, wait, are they a legend army?
They are a Legend
I
Army,
just
yes.
completely drawn. They are. All right, okay. I've just
Yeah.
completely drawn a blank. Yeah, they are.
This is going to be a learning experience
Yeah,
for all of us.
it's what else and high elves that aren't. Okay,
Yeah.
Legends Army. So they have a just a one Grand Army comp. So we have got here, starting from the very beginning of it, characters standard up to 50%, 0 to 1 a Dark Elf Dreadlord or a Supreme Sorceress per 1,000 points. Then we've got a Dark Elf Master, Sorceress, High Beast Master, Death Hag, or a K-Knight Assassin.
K-Knight, yeah. K-Knight.
Then there's no restriction on those, and then you can have 0 to 1 Cauldron of Blood per 1,000 point taken as a mount for a Death Hag. So characters. Then we've got the core, at least 25% of this. You can have Dark Elf Warriors, Repeater Crossbowmen, Black Ark Corsairs, and Dark Riders. And if your army includes one or more Death Hags, 0 to 1 unit of Witch Elves may be taken as a core. Then we got there's no like 1+ and stuff there, which is nice as well. Then we've got the specials, got up to 50% of this. So you can have Hargnath Executioners, Witch Elves, Dark Elf Shades, and Harpies. Then you've got 0 to 1 unit of Blackguard per Dark Elf Noble taken. 0 to 1 unit of Cold One Knights per 1,000 points. 0 to 2 Scourge Runner Chariots or Cold One Chariots per 1,000 points. And if your general is a High Beastmaster, 0 to 1 War Hydra or Charybdis,
Charybdis, isn't it?
may be taken as a special choice.
Mm-hmm.
Then rares wise, 25%. You can have Sisters of Slaughter, Blood Rack Shrines, War Hydras, Charybdis, and Blood Rack Producers.
Yeah.
That's scaring me. 0 to 1 unit of Doomfire Warlocks per 1,000 points. 0 to 2 repeater bolt throwers per 1,000 points. And if you want to spice things up, mercenaries, you can have up to 20% of your army's points value may be spent on mercenaries. And then allies, you can have up to 25% of allies, which is warriors of chaos, and they are uneasy.
Oh, okay. Love
So
it.
yeah,
Love
that's
it.
the general overview of their army comp.
Mhm.
So a few things I like about this. So there isn't a 1+ on anything. I hate that when I
Mhm.
see that.
Like a
The-
tax, unnecessary tax,
yeah,
which is good.
it seems quite standard with the fact it's 0 to 1 per 1,000 points for the Lord
Yeah.
level models, so you can't have like 2 level 4s and also a Dreadlord kind of thing. It's one or
Mhm.
the other there. Having the ability to have things like Cauldron of Bloods in there is quite nice and unique because that's
Yeah.
unique for Dark Elves. Having them as a mount for a Death Hag.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, the
I
core
qu-
seems quite nice. I quite like what's in there. Again, you unlock that thing where it's like if you take one type of a character, this being
yeah.
the Death Hag, you can have one unit of something special in the core. I quite like that. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I do actually quite like witch elves as well. I played against them at the LGT, and they're quite tasty.
Yeah, it's one of
Honestly.
those you can buff up quite nice, isn't it? They
Mhm.
go quite threatening.
Mhm.
Their specials seem all okay. You mostly see you tend to see a lot of people taking a lot of the same units. To be honest, nothing really
Yeah.
stand out. That's Cold or Knights really common in the special there.
Yeah.
And then the rares, it's very elfy, isn't it? The Doomfire Warlocks are nice. They're just a really poor man's Sisters of Thorn.
Mm.
It's better than nothing. Better than High Elves who don't have anything like that.
Mm.
And then but no one really bothers with mercenaries and allies, which is a shame. But I think allies are quite an interesting thing that could open up in the future. But they've only got Warriors of Chaos, very that Slaneshi thing, isn't it, with Dark Elves and Chaos? I think.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely. No,
So
yeah, I like it as well. I mean, I feel like you do seem to. Well, we'll go through the sort of like armor list, or what you take for an armor list anyway. It doesn't tend to deviate too much from what we have seen, but there are some really tasty things in there. I'm going to go through the special rules, if that's okay.
yeah. Well,
Moving on. So we've got a few special rules that you do see outside of Dark Elves. Firstly, so for example, we've got Cleaving Blow. You see these in Vampire Counts, for example. It's a special rule. Natural roll of 6 for making a roll to wound in combat. It struck a cleaving blow. So basically, if it's a regular infantry, heavy infantry, light cavalry, heavy cavalry, or war beasts, um, is it armor saves from regeneration? Let's have a look. Okay. Yes, an armor save or regeneration save is not permitted against this, so it's pretty tasty. Some things will have that. They've got elven reflexes, so they get +1 modifier to their initiative characteristic during the first round of combat. They have eternal hatred, so against high elves, the model's hatred applies in every round of combat, not just the first one. That is quite nice. I mean, if you're going to
nice having
play
unique
high
rules
elf,
like that, isn't it?
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's quite
Very
cool.
thematic.
Absolutely. Okay. Hecate's Blessing. So once per game, model with a special rule may reroll a single failed casting roll. So it's a little bit like a poor man's high elf. They can do it every phase, I believe. But Hecate's it's once per game. So
Harsh, isn't it?
not as
Well,
good.
it's the exact same. They're both elves. Why do Dark Elves get one use
They are
only?
cheaper, to be fair. They're
No.
5 points cheaper, but that's fine. We've got martial prowess as well. A unit with a special rule can make supporting attacks to its flank or rear as well as to its front. Quite nice. And we've got murderous. So when engaged in combat, a model with this special rule, that is fighting with a hand weapon may reroll any rolls of a wound of a natural 1. It's fine. And we've got Sea Dragon Cloak as well. So a model with a special rule puts its armor value by 1 to a maximum of 2 plus against non-magical shooting attacks. Yeah.
So
Okay.
okay, special rules. Nothing super
No,
super game breaking, but there's some nice little thematic ones in there. It's a shame about that casting roll one, but at least they've got something. It's
they
better than
have got something,
most.
yeah, and they've got the lore as well. Do you want me to go through that quickly before we move on to the
Yeah,
unit choices?
I was just going to say we've got the law here as well. Yeah, here's up what we got.
Okay, so we've got a cursing word versus a hex, casting value of 9 plus with a range of 12 inches. It's a remains in play spell. Whilst it's in play, the target enemy unit suffers a -1 modifier to either its weapon skill characteristic or ballistic skill characteristic chosen by the casting wizard's controlling player to a minimum of 1. If the spell is cast, the effect of any other hex previously cast on the target unit immediately expire.
What's interesting about this as well is this is an actual ballistic skill and weapon skill modifier rather than a -1 to hit. So against things like Khemri, it's modifying their ballistic skill, which makes actual big difference there really, and stuff that ignores hit modifiers or
Yeah,
gun thanes.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, then the next one we have is Black Horror. Okay, it's a large blast template. So, well, it's a cast value of 9 plus, range 18 inches. It's a range and play spell, and it's a large blast vortex. So you place it so the central hall is within 18 inches of the caster. Whilst in play, the template is treated as dangerous terrain. The template moves 2d6 in a random direction every turn. The start of turn subphase. Any enemy unit enemy unit the moving template touches or moves over must immediately take d6 strength tests. For each test failed, the unit loses a single wound.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about or cast Black Horror.
Um,
It seems nice because it's a 5-inch template, which is always spicy.
do you get saves against that? It says it doesn't say it ignores like any kind of save. It just
No,
says you take a wound.
you don't. Yeah, if you lose a single, it's like going through dangerous terrain.
Oh, okay,
Just
fair enough.
lose a wound.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, it's all right. I mean, nice. It's a slightly longer sort of range than 18 inches. Five, a large blast template is quite nice. But it's okay. It's okay.
Uh,
There we go. All
there's no,
right.
there's not. It doesn't feel like any auto takes there with the law,
No.
which is a shame. Like there's
Yeah.
no magic missile which you'd rather go for or anything like that. Cursor word I feel like might be something that's quite cool, but the range of 12 is a bit. But they, as we'll find out later, Dark Elves do have a way of increasing their range on their spells. So you know.
This is true. This is very, very true.
So let's look at
Right.
the actual data sheets then they've got here. So starting off with, we'll just go through them as they come. So we've got the HQs then. So you've got the Dark Elf Nobles, which is the Dreadlord and the Dark Elf Master. Typical elf stat lines with the movement of 5, weapon skill 7 on the Dreadlord, weapon skill 6 on the Master. Both toughness 3 because they're elves. Both strength 4, initiative 6 and 5, and also 4 attacks on the Dreadlord and 3 on the Master. And also leadership 10 on the Dreadlord and 9 on the Master. Points being 130 for the Dreadlord and 70 for the Master. Nothing looks like a steal there, but they're fairly good for elves, aren't they? They're quite common points.
Mm.
They get the usual array of weapons, additional hand weapons, great weapons, halberds, lances if they're mounted. You can also take repeater crossbows or hand bows.
Or a brace of repeated
Or a
crossbows.
brace, yeah, no, hand bow, brace of hand bow.
Yeah, brace handbows. Sorry.
They can take a shield, heavy armor, full plate armor. So they can be fully armored up there, and they can be mounted, which we'll go through the mounts later. They can have that sea dragon cloak for the +1 save against shooting, which is nice, especially for 4 points. You're seeing that quite a fair bit, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And then they can have the usual 100 points of magic items for the Dreadlord and 50 for the Master. And then they've got the special rules: Eternal Hatred, Hatred High Elves, and the Murderous Strike special rule as well that we covered. So yeah, pretty fairly standard.
Yeah, fairly standard. Yeah, absolutely. Although seeing the brace of repeater handbows, I've just got this image of like a John Wick lord going through and doing absolutely nothing but just be cool out regardless. Yeah, I mean, you see, obviously, you do usually see a dreadlord, usually on a black dragon, is what people do take a lot. They're all right, yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. 2+ save quite easily.
Shooting.
From a shooter, well, they've got a full plate armor as well and a shield, and there's got to be a magic item, right? I'm sure when I've played it, they have a 2+ save. So we'll go through the magic item soon, but you know.
What's next?
Well, they do have the Dark Elf Sorceresses. All right, so we've got Supreme Sorceress, we've got Sorceress, so we've got 150 points and 75 points respectively. Obviously, Supreme Sorceress starts at level 3, and you can make them level 4, okay, for 30 points. Again, really, they're kind of the same, really. You can take a nice mount for them again. The mounts are actually quite an interesting point of context because, like, it depends what you want to go with. I quite like a Dark Pegasus for the 360 degree line of sight.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but obviously a lot of people take a black dragon. Ed was taking the double black dragon list, wasn't he? He's done very well with, and I think it's still quite popular.
Hmm.
Um, they're slightly cheaper than the elven equivalent. They do have the Hecate's blessing, which would be nice if it was every phase like that. The high elf one, but they are
Yeah.
cheaper. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
So next up, then we've got the Beastmasters or Beastmaster. I don't know why it has an S in there. There's only one. So the High Beastmaster has a stat line that's very similar to a mix of the Dreadlord and the Nobles. So you've got Weapon Skill 7 on this guy, BS 7, Strength 4, Toughness 3, 3 wounds. It's Initiative 5 though, and 3 attacks, and Leadership 9, so it's a little bit between, but he's only 75 points.
Hmm.
Can have the usual options of what you expect of this sort of thing with cavalry. These are obviously meant to be mounted, as you imagine. So cavalry spear, repeater crossbow, shield, light and heavy arm, light or heavy armor. Sorry, may replace the light armor with heavy armor. Sorry, and can be mounted on one of the following: you can have a scourge on a chariot or a manticore. And then you can have a sea dragon cloak as well, so you can get his armor save up, and you can have items worth up to 75 points. So the magic item allowance thing always tells you how whereabouts on the scale of, are they the bottom sort of character, a middle one, 75-point magic items, or 100 points for the Lord kind of thing. Yes, he's pretty good. He's got a special rule here called Goad Beast. So during the command sub phase of their turn, this character may goad a single friendly model whose troop type is monster, and that is within their command range, including their own mount. So his command range is going to be 9. Until the end of this turn, that model gains plus D3 modifier to its attacks characteristic to a maximum of 10. That's quite nice.
Hmm.
It's it's like it's better than giving it frenzy. So it's plus D3 attacks. It's quite cool.
It is quite nice. It's quite nice, and I'm actually surprised at how good the stat line is. The stat line is actually quite tasty for this character,
75 points. Yeah,
considering.
you're gonna have to spend a lot of points on its mount, obviously, because you've got
Yeah,
to put it on
this is true, but
mantic.
you
Something nice.
usually sort of like for these sort of support characters, they usually have fairly middling stat lines. But to be weapon skill 7 and strength 4 for an elf is actually quite nice.
Yeah,
3 attacks, yeah, pretty cool, pretty
it
cool.
depends how good this manticore is, really, because it's all going to be about the manticore, isn't it? Let's be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Now coming on to one of my favorite ones in the roster in the HQ, which is the Death Hag. So 70 points, and they move 5, web skill 7, ballistic skill 7, 6 even, sorry, web skill 6, ballistic skill 6, strength 4, touch 3, 2 wounds, 3 attacks, and they can take 75 points worth of magic items. They can take gifts of Cain as well. So I'll run through these quickly. Basically, they can. So they got Cry of War. So enemy unit suffers -1 leadership to modified to leadership characteristic, whilst in the command range of one or more Death Hags that have this special rule. They have Rune of Cain, so the character has extra attacks, which is plus D3 extra attacks, which is nice, and Witch Brew. So the character and their mount and any unit they have joined cannot lose the frenzy special rule. So it's really nice. Quite a few little buffs there. To be fair, they also have poisonous attacks. Obviously, strike first, loner, so they can only join witch elves, and murderous as well.
Strike first.
And strike, yeah, I said that.
So
Yeah, they all have strike first. All the HQs have strike first.
the gifts of Cain thing. So it's you just purchase just one. You can't have multiple, and it's just for the game as well, isn't
Mhm,
it? So it's not like
exactly.
you have to take a test or anything or get it for a turn. It's just constant, which is cool.
I think you're going to take the plus D3 attacks usually, because what I've seen people take is the obviously the oak blade on this particular one.
Or executioner's axe thing.
Yes, and they just sort of whirlwind through things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
They
she's
are really cool.
easy to kill if you get hold of her, but she can slap nicely.
You're never going to take her outside of a big block of witch elves, all right? You need to
No,
keep her
probably not.
protected. Yeah.
So next up we got assassins or assassin. So he's as usual with an assassin, you expect him to weapon skill amazing. So his weapon skill 8, BS 7, strength 4, toughness 3, only a 2 wounder and 3 attacks, so 80 points. Options he can have, he comes with a hand weapon and a throwing weapon as well. So he can have an additional hand weapon or repeat a handbow. He may take one of the following forbidden poisons. You can have a Black Lotus, Dark Venom, or Manbane. On the Black Lotus, so this is a bit like the Death Hag, you're just purchasing it, it has it. So For Black Lotus, for each unsaved wound inflicted upon them by this character, enemy characters suffer a -1 modifier to their leadership characteristic for the remainder of the game. Dark Venom is this character has the Killing Blow special rule. And Manbane is when this character makes a roll to wound. A roll of a 4+ is always a success, regardless of the target's toughness. Okay, not bad. Then he can have up to 50 points with the magic items. He comes with the special rules of the usual hatred, eternal hatred. He has hidden, so he can start off hidden in units, which I'll explain in a second. He gets immune to psychology for free, which is nice. And he has to strike first. So the hidden special rule. So assassins are not placed on the battlefield at the start of the game. Instead, they are hidden within a friendly Dark Elf unit whose troop type is infantry, and that has a unit strength of 10 or more, excluding harpies. That's a shame. Make a note of which unit each assassin is hiding within. A hidden assassin may be revealed during any start of turn subphase or at the start of any combat phase. Position the revealed assassin as you would a character that has just joined a unit. If a unit is in which a assassin is hiding is destroyed or flees the battlefield before the assassin is revealed, the assassin is removed as a casualty. An assassin cannot be your army general. So quite cool. I don't think you're going to get much with mind games of where you're hiding these assassins, but if you're playing something with some scouting stuff and you can shades basically, and you can hide some assassins in there, it can be quite interesting. Nice and flavor.
Yeah.
I like the fact it's like hiding in a unit. It's quite cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, the problem is that it's that unit strength 10 or more, so it's to be a big unit of shades. And if you're going to be like doing that, um, are you going to have more than one? Because you only have like one big unit. It's fairly obvious where your assassin's going to be.
Oh yeah,
So it's like it's
oh yeah.
the mind games don't really work because people don't really play like that at the moment. But like, I mean, it could in the future. Who knows? If we get to the point where people are taking it's a 10 or more infantry and walking towards people, I'm sure
Yeah,
we
if,
could
if
see more.
missions and things come and make
Yeah.
come into the game a little bit, and it's not a case of where you can game the mission by still
Mm,
taking these small MSUE monsters and stuff like that we're doing at the moment, then yeah, it could be cool. It could be interesting to see those
absolutely.
sort of units get used.
Yeah.
Right, so next we've got mounts. Have we? Take us away.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got the Dreadlord or Dark of Dreadlord or Master can be mounted on a Dark Sea Cold One Chariot, Black Dragon, which is only a Dreadlord, or a Manticore, which is a Dreadlord. So Beastmaster can't go on a Manticore by the sounds of it.
That's further down the list.
That's further down the list. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah, Manticore or a Scourge or a Chariot. Okay. The Supreme Dark Sorceress can go on a Dark Steed, Cold One, Dark Pegasus, Black Dragon, and a Death Hag can go on a Cauldron of Blood. So Dark Steed is normal. It's movement 9, which is quite
Moving
nice.
nine horse, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was quite nice.
fast cavalry, swift stride,
Hmm.
no barding or anything, as you can imagine. It's fast cav.
Yeah, it's fine. Cold One's quite nice as well. It's a T4, get +1, +1 toughness, so there will be T4. 2 attacks, initiative 2. They do have stupidity, and they have first charge. They don't have counter charge, which is a shame. But they are pretty good.
Have it all.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
movement 7, you can't have it all. The movement
No.
7. What's nice about these is 2 attacks on the mount's really interesting. At strength
Yeah.
4, I like that, and they have armor bane 1 as well, which is cool. And
Nice.
also
Yeah.
the armored hide, so it makes your guy on top that bit tougher.
Hmm.
What's next?
Dark Pegasus. So I like these. Movement 8. Web skill 3. They give you +1 wound, which is nice. 3 attacks at initiative 4. The monstrous cavalry, and they got Arbane 1, which is just Dark Pegasus. Counter charge, first charge, fly 10, and swift stride. I really like these for the sorceress. If you're not going to take a black dragon,
Yeah,
really quick, 360-degree line of sight. It's just nice. Just tasty.
35 points. It's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very cool. And then we have, moving on to troops. So do you want to
Well,
hit the
let's
troops?
go through because the book's a bit let out a little bit strange. So the other stuff at the back here, then with the mounts.
It's the dragons and stuff.
So the cauldron of blood for the hag. So this is movement 2 base. It comes with 2 witch elf crew. It's the cauldron is strength 5 T5 with 5 wounds. It's 150 points, and the 2 witch elf crew are just your strength 3, 1 attack, leadership 9. It's a heavy chariot. The witch elf crews have 2 hand weapons each. Special rules: you get close order, dragged along, which go through. Elven reflexes frenzy, so it gives the frenzy. It's got impact as a d6 plus 1, and it's a heavy chariot, so it's the impact is better. Large target, magic resistance 1, poison attacks, terror, and murderous. It has a bound spell that it can do, so the Blessings of Cain. So even if engaged in combat, this model can cast the following bound spell with a power level of 2. So it's got an enchantment, 9 plus to cast, and its range itself. So until your next start of turn phase, this model and every friendly Death Hag, unit of Witch Elves, or unit of Sisters of Slaughter that is within its command range, which is it's going to be 9, gains the following rule. Gains one of the following rules. Sorry, the Fury of Cain, a Furious Charge special rule, Strength of Cain, which is the Cleaving Blow special rule, and Blood Shield of Cain, which is a 5+ ward against any wounds suffered. And then also, that's it. So
Yeah.
actually, not too bad there with the bound spells. It's the thing is, it's been bound spell 9. You need to get that. It's an average 7
Yeah.
to get it. It's
Movement too as well. Yeah, you're saying it dragged along. There's a rule dragged along as well.
yeah. So
Um,
it gets dragged along by the unit. So you place it. Do you know what? Let me just double check on it before I completely lie about how that rule works. But
you want to
it's
go through Scourge Runner Chariots while we wait, while you're doing that?
absolutely not.
Okay.
Dark Elves. What is it called? Where are you? Where are you? Death Hack. Cold one. Cauldron of Blood. Right, so I've just clicked off it because I'm a champion. So dragged along. So a model with a special rule that begins its movement within 1 inch of a friendly unit whose true type is infantry, that is not fleeing, and contains 10 or more models may replace its movement characteristic with that of the unit. So it's going to get the movement 5 from the elves if that's what you place it.
Okay.
So that's not too bad. It means it's just not going to get too slowed down. That's fine.
Okay.
What's the next
We have
map?
Scourge Runner Chariots. Um, is that right? Or are we going? Are we again?
Yeah, so it can be a mountain. It can be
It's
just
gonna be
you can
about
just take
there.
it as a chariot. So
Okay, so it's a light chariot. It is strength 4 to 4 wounds. It's got a Beastmaster crew, weapon skill 4, blood skill 4, initiative 4, and 2 dark steeds. In terms of its special rules, it has everything that everything that you'd expect to see. It has got a dragon cloak on it, which is quite nice for free. Impact it's d6, and Swift stride. You can take a ranger harpoon on there.
Ravager harpoon.
A Ravager, that's it. My apologies. 24 inches, strength 6, AP3, cumbersome, multiple wounds, D3, and ponderous. So it can't move or shoot.
Yeah, it's not moving your light chariot
Okay.
about. You move a 9 light chariot, it's going to stay still to shoot this.
Yeah, not great. Not great. Yeah, it's all right. 85 points. It's fine.
Yeah. If you make it a character mount, as we now know with light chariots, you can join units. So, okay.
Yeah.
Then also you got this cold one chariot below it. Talk to us
Yeah.
about this.
Okay, so this is a heavy chariot, so you can't join this with the units, but it's strength 5 times 5, 4 wounds. It has knight charioteers, so we've got weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, initiative 5, 1 attack. And then we've got 2 cold ones as well. All right. Yeah, again, it has all the same. It's slightly better impact. It's D6 plus 1. Um,
4
first
up armor save.
charge. Yeah, 4 up armor save. Yeah, it's stupidity as well, which
Yeah,
is
the stupidity can let it down a little bit. It's
yeah,
just one of those things. It does cause fear as well, which is nice.
yeah,
But also its stats are really good for something elven. It's strength 5 T5 for the heavy chariot. It's quite good for elves. With the 4 up armor saves, it's quite tough.
absolutely, absolutely. And then we have moving on to the next. The next thing we have the Black Dragon, as a character mount, which is what I think most people will take. It's 280 points, movement 6, weapon skill 6, strength 7, toughness plus 3, wounds plus 6, initiative 4, and 6 attacks. It has fly 10 as well. Swiss Stride Terror, Stomp attacks, so D6 Stomp attacks. It's just a decent dragon. Yeah, it's
It's got it's got a really good breath weapon as well. Strength 4 breath weapon,
yeah,
and its rule is that every model in a unit that suffers one or more unsaved wounds from this weapon suffers a -1 modifier to its weapon skill characteristic to a minimum of 1. Also, no armor saves are permitted against wounds caused by this weapon. So
yeah, it's decent.
probably
Very
one of
good.
the best overall, because you've got things like
hmm
the Two Kings one, strength 3. I think it's like AP3 or something with
You
multiple
got the
ones too.
breath of change for once per
Yeah,
game with
which
characters.
some of the dragon breath weapons are really strong, but other ones like strength 2 and stuff. So this has been strength 4. Is probably the highest strength one I think I've seen,
hmm
and no armor saves as well. So I like this. I like the breath weapon for this dragon. It's good.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean it's really good, and we'll go through the magic items. So there's some really nice stuff you can take on it as well, which is pretty cool with all the characters. But that go well with that. I think that's all the characters done apart from the Manticore. Do you want to go with the Manticore?
Yep. So the Manticore is it's weapon skill 5, strength 5, +1 toughness, +4 wounds. It's initiative 5. It's got 4 attacks and it costs 130 bucks. It's a monstrous creature. It has heavy armor. It may take a venomous tail for 15 points. Special rules wise, it's got close order, fly 9, large target, stomp attacks D3, swift stride terror, and willful beast.
hmm
So, special rules wise, willful beast is during the start of turn subphase of each of their turns, this model must make a leadership test using its own modified leadership. If the test is passed, the rider is able to keep control of their mount. If, however, the test is failed, the rider has lost control and the mount becomes subject to the frenzy special rule until the start of the next turn subphase. So, and this is note that the rider does not get the +1 modifier to their tax characteristic, it's just going to be the mount. Its wicked claws that it comes with are usual that you see on these sort of mounts where it's just strength user, so strength 5, AP2.
hmm
And the venomous tail that you can upgrade is in combat. This model must make one of its attacks. I hate that must make ones. Must make one of its attacks each turn with this weapon. So it's strength user, AP dash, poison attack, strike first. Why are you paying 15 points for that?
Yeah, to sacrifice 2 AP.
Yeah, I honestly
Okay.
don't know, but fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
And strike first on something elven is quite something you don't tend to really care too
Yeah.
much about. But either or. So yeah, it's your basic manticore. There's several of them in the game in different armors, isn't there? Kind of
It's your
mounts.
basic mount that's not a dragon,
Yeah,
basically.
it's just a weaker dragon.
Yeah.
They're nice because you can sometimes, if you try to write a list where you've got like 3 of these, for example, and you're trying to like sort of overwhelm a little bit, and you're not wanting to take dragons, then that's quite interesting.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay.
Skimming back to the start then, so we've gone through characters and their mounts. Let's go through some of the other units as well. So you've got probably what you're about to talk about before, Dark Elf City Guard, which is
Hang on, mate. Bear with me. The way this is laid out is generally awful.
I'll go
Okay.
first. So you've got your
Yeah.
Dark Elf Warriors and then your repeater crossbowmen. So that's the City Guard, is just a name for those two sort of core types. So your Dark Elf Warriors, standard stat line, skill 4, BS4, strength toughness 3, initiative 4, 1 attack, leadership 8. Same for the repeated crossbowmen, apart from their champion can be is BS5 and only 1 attack, whereas the champion for the Dark Elf Warriors, the combat guys, is got 2 attacks. They are 10 plus, so you've got to take them with these use of 10s. The Dark Elf Warriors have hand weapons, light armors, and shield standard, and the repeated crossbowmen have hand weapons, repeated crossbows, surprise, and light armor.
hmm
Any unit may upgrade to a champion, standard bearer, musician at your 5 points. Just to say as well, that Dark Elf Warrior combat guys are 8 points, and the repeated crossbowmen are 11 points base. Quite expensive that. Any unit of Dark Elf Warriors may take thrusting spears. So that's any unit, so your crossbowman can do it.
hmm
I know they can't know, so Dark Elf Warriors is specifically the combat guys there, isn't it?
hmm
Any unit of repeated crossbowmen may take shields. And then 0 to 1 unit per army for both may have Vanguard, have Veteran
Veteran.
Special for 1 point each, and may purchase a magic standard worth up to 50 points.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then you've got the usual special rules of close order and the typical Dark Elf special
Yeah,
rules
they
there.
use the usual sort of core that don't really do that much, and not many people take.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really tend to
Um,
see them. Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, there's something to say about having big blocks of spearmen, I
mhm,
suppose. If you're going to have like characters in there to help buff them up and use some spells to help get more out of them.
mhm,
And 8 points isn't terrible for the sort of the weapon skill and the initiative stat line with at least 8, but the strength and toughness always lets elf down. So you got to
mhm.
be a bit more tricky with how you use those units.
Yeah, I agree.
What's next?
We've got Black Art Corsairs, which are basically 11 points for movement 5, weapon skill 4, plus 4, strength and toughness of 3, 1 wound, 1 attack. You can take additional hand weapons on them and repeat hand bows.
For free?
For free, yeah, for free. And what I do quite like is that they also get a Sea Dragon cloak baked in to that points cost.
Do they?
So yeah, they
Oh
do.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's weird how
um,
it's a special rule. I thought that'd be an item. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I agree. They have move recover and their open order. I quite like these to be fair. 11 points for you do get quite a lot for 11 points, but again, you don't really see them really.
Great models
Um,
as well from back in the day, aren't they? Fantastic models.
yeah, they were really cool, really cool. Um, I mean, I prefer these. I don't know. Well, yeah, I prefer those to City Guard, but
A little
they're
bit more
okay.
lightly armored, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah,
Apart from the having the Sea Dragon coat for the shooting aspect of it,
exactly.
that's fine. Next to them, we've got Blackguard. So the Blackguard are the more elite infantry. So they've got the weapon skill of 5, and the rest of the stats are the same, apart from the leadership's 9 and their initiative 5. So it's an extra point of weapon skill, initiative, and leadership over your normal Dark Elf warrior for 15 points. So 4 more points there for that.
Hmm.
They come with Dread Halberds, which are +1 strength, AP 1, armor bane 1, fight in 2 ranks, and requires 2 hands. A model wielding a dread halberd, sorry, cannot make a supporting attack during a turn in which it charged. So it's more of a defensive piece.
Yeah.
They come with full plate armor as well, so heavily armored there, which is nice.
Hmm.
They may upgrade user standard champion musician. They can have the drilled special rule, which is something you like to see on these
Hmm.
more elite infantry to make the most out of them for 1 point per model.
Hmm.
And they can have a magic standard worth up to 100 points. And the Tower Master champion can take up to 50 points of magic items. They come with immune to psychology as well, and stubborn. Stubborn's a really good rule.
Yeah,
So,
I mean psychology is actually too fair.
so yeah, immune psychology
Yeah.
is always strong. They are close order as
Hmm.
well. So you know you're not going to see massive units of these, but sometimes you do actually. So you see people with the on some of the battle reports having units of 20, which is nice.
I just quite like them. I quite like they seem okay. They
Yeah,
seem
I
yeah.
like the I like what they're equipped with and things. So
Hmm.
the full plate's nice to make up for
Low
the
toughness.
yeah the low
Yeah,
toughness.
yeah, and the
Next,
fact that they can't take shields, um, which
yeah,
is nice. Um,
but the drill part of things as well. Sorry, to having the drilled in there is going to help make it so that it can be marching column to get down the side,
mhm.
and then quickly drilled, redress ranks and charge into some things. You can try and keep them out of the main flurry of battle. I don't,
I agree.
when
No, I agree.
they're going to get picked apart by archers and things. So you can try and use them a little bit more swiftly like that.
Yeah,
Which is
no, I agree. We got Hargonath Executioners, which I do like from back in the day, but let's see what they're
nice.
like now. So they have great sword. Well, they're 15 points each. Weapons skill 5. Okay, strength 4, toughness 3, and district 5, 1 attack, as always. They're equipped with Hargonath Greatswords and heavy armor. So Hargonath Greatsword is strength +2, -1 AP is so disappointing for that. This should be like great weapons, honestly. But they do get cleaving blow and requires 2 hands. Um,
But they
you can
don't strike
take
fast, so
they
that's
don't take the strike last. Yeah, that's not bad. They can take a magic standard worth up to 50 points, and the Drake Master can take a magic items up to 25 points. In terms of their special rules, they have close order and all the usual stuff that we've seen and everything. And they're veteran, which is
yeah.
nice. Veteran.
They can also get drilled at 2 points per model.
Hmm.
Why do these cost more for their drilled? So interesting things here is that they are base strength 4, so they're strength 6 in combat, which is nice. They have the
Mm.
heavy see versus the blackguard. They have heavy armor, not full plate. They're the same points, but they get +1 strength. So they don't get The veteran is cool as well. Real leadership is always strong, but I quite like the stubborn and the immune psychology from the Blackguard.
Mm.
I'm not sure which I prefer best out of these two. I
I would go
probably
with
stick
that
with
Blackguard for the defensive because the problem is that what's always going to be the heel, the Achilles heel for any kind of elf thing is their low toughness. Whereas with the Blackguard they have that better save to sort of try and offset it. These don't. These will just get blown off the board straight away.
So this is going to be you how elite you play these dark elves to avoid that, or do you take massive units and just go, well, try and blow some off. I'm going to some
Yeah,
combat. Both having drilled, I think, is important, but
they
then
don't have
the extra
supporting.
points is
Well,
they don't have the support attacks. Yeah, that's the
no,
thing. They make up for it with a
yeah.
better weapons, maybe.
I don't actually think they are. Cleaving blow's okay, but like they come into get something that's not like regular infantry, heavy infantry, whatever it may be, and they're left with a strength 6, but only AP 1. That's not great.
Yeah, and not having the extra guys behind get to smack them in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next up we've got Dark Elf Shades. So we've got the elite sort of skirmishing
Mm.
uh, units. So you got the weapon skill 5. They have the BS 5 though on these, and the rest of the stat line's the same as most elves. Strength toughness 3, initiative 5, one attack, initiative 8. They're 15 points model as well. Bit of a theme. They come with hand weapons and repeater crossbows. The entire unit may take one of the following. You can have additional hand weapons, okay, for 1 point, or great weapons for 2 points. That's interesting. The great weapons. The entire unit may take light armor for 1 point per model, and any unit may upgrade one of its models to be a champion at 6 points, and the champion can have up to 25 points worth of magic items, and then 0 to 1 unit in your army may have ambushers, chariot runners, or veteran, and all of those are 1 point each. they 1 second. They come with these special rules with evasive, which is good,
Hmm.
and move through cover, scout, and skirmish. So try and lower your drops and stuff. Having things in scout's always strong. Skirmish is good for being able to move about, so you can hide them a bit behind bits of terrain, pop out when you're ready. They're an interesting unit. They have some nice rules, but nothing super special that makes you go, I want to take loads of shades. Though you have seen a few people take shade Death Stars, so big units of these, buff them up with some spells. There's some magic items which help them, which we'll talk about in a bit as well, that can potentially make a Death Star good for a turn. But yeah, they're okay.
They're
Especially
okay, yeah.
they could be a little bit cheaper, I must say, especially with the fact you have to break the bank by purchasing all the extra stuff. Like you want it to be okay in combat, great weapon 2 points, plus light armor, just a 6 up armor save for a point. God, why don't you just come with that? They also have, the models have cool cloaks, so you think they have some sort of, sea dragon cloak or something like that. But oh well.
Yeah, I, thought I personally would probably try and keep this as cheap as possible with the BS5 shooting and just make use of that. BS5 is quite rare, really.
BS5 is rare, and BS6 on the
Yeah,
champion as well. But yeah,
yeah,
BS5 is very rare, and it depends what you want to get out of them. What are you using them for? Are they going to
yeah.
be directors, be annoying? If you had objectives in the game, then they'd be really
Hmm.
cool for that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Next,
So we've got Daughters of Cain, and I'm going to try and whiz through these because time is slipping away, really, and we want to go through magic items and stuff. So we've got Daughters of Cain. We have Witch Elves. We've got Witch Elves or Hags. Hags, the champion.
Mhm.
These are movement 5, weapon skill 4, BS 4, strength 3 times 3, 1 attack each at initiative 5. Sisters of Slaughter are better weapon skill 5. They have an additional attack as well, which is quite nice. They are 6 points more. So they're 17 points per model rather than 11 points per model. In terms of special rules, so the Witch Elves have Close Order, Elven Reflexes, Frenzy, Hatred, Horde, Loner, Murderous, and Poison attacks. Sisters of Slaughter have Dance of Death, which we'll go through in a second. Elven Reflexes, Hatred for High Elves, Impetuous, Loner, Murderous, and Open Order. Now, Dance of Death, if this unit makes a successful charge move, i.e., the unit makes contact with a charged target, the charged target suffers a -1 modifier to its maximum rank bonus until the end of the combat phase that turn. It's quite nice. It's like a sort of semi first charge thing going on.
I love the way they had to in brackets clarify what a successful charge move was.
Hey, there are going to be people who would argue it, and you just know it, because it's missing a comma or something daft. We also have Lash and Buckler. So this is a weapon that people. Let's have a look.
They all have it. Yeah, Sisters of
They all
Slaughter.
have that. So it's strength AP. So yeah, strength is their strength AP -1. Arbane 1, fighting extra rank and requires 2 hands. And a model equipped with the Lash and Buckler improves its armor value by 1.
So it gives them an
A
armor.
6-up save, yeah. It gives
Okay.
them a save. Is
Yeah.
that worth the extra 6 points? Probably not.
Well, the extra attack probably is, and the fighting 2 ranks is
Mm,
quite nice. But the things that let them down with some of the rules there is that impetuous is, it can be dangerous.
hmm
Um, the normal witch elves having horde is quite nice. Seeing that on a unit like that, having horde and poisonous attacks is cool. So
hmm
they have 2 hammers anyway, so they get 2 attacks base. So it's about
Yeah,
how are you buffing that unit up with all the other abilities and spells and things like that. So they're cool. That.
absolutely.
Next up, we got harpies. So harpies are really basically got fly 10, move through cover, scout, skirmish, and swift strike. So they've got loads of cool special rules that we like to see.
Yeah.
They are though weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, initiative 5, 2 attacks, and their leadership 6. They don't have anything apart from a hand weapon, and they are 11 points each, so quite pricey. But they're okay if you're trying to get a unit that can just, fly 10, just zip them down the side of the board, get to those war machines. They should hopefully, with 2 attacks, be able to kill some crew. So
hmm
they're okay for that,
You would hope.
especially
Yeah.
because they've got the scouts as well,
hmm
and Swift Stride.
Brill. So after that, we have Colborne Knights. 31 points per model. Okay. We got our weapon skill 5, which is really nice. BS4, strength of this 4, initiative 5, and then attacks. 1 attack, 2 on the champion, obviously. Again, we've already gone through the armor. The special rules aren't any different really to the mount, apart from the fact that no, they're all the same. They're Swift Stride, but they don't have counter charge. They have first charge, fear, hatred, stupidity as well. Um, these are really good. I like these. You're seeing these a lot. I think
Yeah,
people
they've
are
got.
taking massive units of these now.
It's
Or
because they've got the armor. So they've got the
yeah,
5 plus heavy armor. So they've got heavy armor 5 plus, shield 4 plus. They get armored hide 1 from the
from the
cold
cold
one
one. Yeah.
for the 3 plus. So and then the biggest thing is you can replace the heavy armor with full plate armor.
hmm
4 points per model, but it does give you a unit with a
2
2-up
plus
save,
save.
which is rare, and they're T4 as well for cavalry. So they are elite cavalry, so they're quite tough, and it's because they've got loads of attacks with the cold one. And you can take a magic item, which we'll talk about. It gives you
Yeah.
the AP1 on
The
the
banner.
attacks. Yeah, the
Yeah.
banner of Agrath or something gives you AP1
Yeah.
on your attacks, so that those cold ones then become quite dangerous with a AP1 armor bane 2 attacks weapon. So yeah, they're
Well,
really good cavalry. It's just the stupidity is always one of those things like
it's always the Campbell, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. Next thing now we've got is Dark Riders. So these are your core fast cavalry. So they're like cavalry. They're weapon skill 4, BS4, strength toughness 3, 1 attack, 8, leadership 8 for 16 points. They come with a hand weapon, cavalry, spear, and light armor. The Dark Steed obviously is just you move at 9. So movement 9 is really good with nothing extra on there. You can take repeated crossbows and shields. Repeated crossbows are 2 points and shields are 1. And then any unit may have the champion, standard bearer, musician, but then 0 to 1 units per 1,000 points may have fire and flee and may have scout. They come with swift stride and skirmish and can be open order, obviously. So, really cool thing about these is their core. You can put quite a lot of points into these to make them expensive to soak up all your core allocation. And because
hmm
they're fast and they can be skirmish, they can hide. Fire and flee is quite nice as well, so they can get out of dodge, and so you can be scouting to get them somewhere nice and hidden before the start of the game. They're really good for a core unit. I like these. I like
hmm
them a lot.
Yeah, I like him. I like him. Yeah.
Next
We've got Doomfire Warlocks. So these don't have a movement characteristic. They're on a Dark Steed, 9 inches. So they're light cavalry, and they've got weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 4, initiative 5, 1 attack. Um, so you can make a unit a champion of 6 points, and they can take 25 points worth of war gear. So there's special rules. We've got Dark Coven, Dark Runes, Curse Coven, Dark Runes, Elven Reflexes, Fast Cavalry, Poison Attacks, and Swift Stride.
and they're open
So,
order,
and the what, sorry?
and
And
they're open.
they're open order as well, yeah. So, a unit of Doomfire Warlocks knows a single spell chosen by their controlling player before armies are deployed from either the Dark Magic or Demonology Law of Magic. The unit may cast the spell as a bound spell. If the unit has a unit strength of 10 or more and includes a master, it may cast this with a bound spell power a level of 2. If the unit contains a master but has a unit strength of 9 or less, it may cast this bound spell with a power level of 1. Otherwise, this unit may cast the bound spell with a power level of 0. Dark Runes basically gives them a 4+ ward save against wounds suffered
Five.
caused by a 5+ ward save, even about wounds caused by non-magical attacks.
So they're just not as good as Sisters of the Thorn. It's so shit. It's so annoying. Like Sisters of the Thorn have a 4+ invuln against, I believe, everything. They
Hmm.
don't have to have. You can. They only have to have a standard bearer and a champion to be able to get the bounce to level 2, whereas these have to have a full unit of at least 5 guys to do it, and the champion. So as soon as you kill one, it nerfs the spell down.
Hmm.
They don't have any of the cool weapons like the Sisters of Thorn have, who can like throw poison spears at like strength 4 AP1 or something, or strength 3 AP1.
No,
So
yeah,
they just don't have all the cool bits that the Sisters do. But it is again something that, apart from Wood Elves, no other army has stuff really like this.
yeah,
So
yeah. I got that.
the spells and laws they can take stuff from isn't as exciting. You'd love it to be battle magic, you really would.
Hmm.
But demonology, and dark magic have some cool buff spells too, and
They do, yeah. I've got Battle Lust and all that kind of stuff. But you got frenzy all over the place anyway. But
well.
yeah,
So I mean, throwing that, having that in your back pocket is okay. But
yeah.
22 points a model, so you are, 110 points.
Hmm.
It's not super cheap, but anyhow,
No, no.
they're a nice unit. But the thing is as well, also like Sisters of Thorn specials, you can have 3 units, whereas these are 0 to 1 per 1,000 points. You can have 2 in
Hmm.
a 2,000 point army. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, you've been through the chariots, so
Bloodrak Shrine is next.
Ordrak Shrine. So this is another thing like the what's it called? The Cauldron
Cauldron
of
of
Blood.
Blood.
So it's movement 2 base, strength 5 toughness 5, 5 wounds. It's 175 points as well. It comes with 2 Shrine Keepers, and which are weapon skill 4, strength 3, 1 attack, and then a Blood Rack Medusa, which is weapon skill 5, strength 4 with 3 attacks. It's a heavy chariot, got a 4+ armor save. The Shrine Keepers, the 2 girls, have cavalry spears, and the Bloodrack Medusa has a cavalry spear and petrifying gaze, which I'm sure that's the same name as something that's in the Tomb King book as well. The
Possibly.
special rules they have as close order, dragged along, so you have to keep it near a unit, and it's big enough, and they can drag it along with it. Frenzied, hatred, usual bits. Impact hits d6+1. It's a large target. It's got magic res 1, and it's got poison attacks. Stony stare, and it causes terror. Stony Stare is at the start of each combat phase. Enemy models in base contact with this model must take an initiative test. If the test is failed, they suffer D3 strength 2 hits with no armor saves allowed. All right. Petrifying Gaze, then, that the Bloodrat Medusa has is a ranged weapon, and she is BS 5. So it's range 18, strength 2, APNA. It's got magical attacks and multiple wounds at D3. So when making a roll to wound for an attack made with this weapon, substitute the target's toughness with his initiative. No armor save is permitted against wounds caused by this weapon. That's okay. D3 wounds is always interesting when you see anything that's got something a little bit more than everything else. D3 wounds is always nice. But I literally don't think I've ever seen the word Blood Rack Shrine
On
wrote
a
down
list
on
ever.
this list ever. I actually didn't know it really existed until we started doing this. So,
Really? Well, I mean, I don't like that Stony Stare rule. I think that's you read it and initially think, "Oh, okay, that's okay," but then you actually think about it. It's like, so hang on, you got to fail an initiative test, then you got to roll your hits, and then you still got to roll to wound. That is awful. Like you've got so many hoops to go through.
wait,
And
what?
like, why? So you fail your initiative test, and then you still got to roll to wound. That's crap.
Oh, you got. I thought you said roll to hit. Then I was like, no, it'll to hit, but it's just
No,
yeah.
so they got to roll the amount of hits. It's only D
Oh right,
three.
yeah. So
There's just so many like. Why
who?
is it strength 2?
Because it's a stone. I don't know. It's staring at you.
It's just you get stared out by a statue. All right, okay. Well, yeah, whatever. Right, yeah, hard pass for me. Thank you. What about you?
No, yeah, it's not on my list of.
175 points.
I know it's savage.
What?
Isn't it? It's savage.
Okay.
You can't even take anything like extra on it. Like there's no war gear options. It's not a character mount. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing sexy about this model at all.
No. No. Right, I think we've only got well, good. We've only got two more unit entries to go through, which is good because, like I say, I want this to be about 40 minutes, and we're on 55 minutes, Andrew. So, do you want to do the War Hydra?
The War Hydra is movement 6, obstacle 4, strength 5, toughness 5, 5 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 6, and it's 200 points. It comes 2 Beastmass handlers, do weapon skill 4, strength 3, 1 attack each. There's a Behemoth, which is nice. Nice to see those. It's got an armor value of 5 up. The equipment it has is that it has Wicked Claws, so no, that's going to be AP2 strength user, Serrated Maws, and Fiery Breath. The Beastmaster handlers have hand weapons and whips. Special rules I've got is Close Order, extra attacks, which is plus remaining wounds. So those 2 attacks it had are going to be 7
Yeah.
at the start. Simian Psychology, large target, monster handler special rule, regeneration 5 up, and it's got stomp attacks D3, and it causes terror. Wicked Claws, obviously, we know, is AP2 strength user. The Serrated Maw is in combat. This model must make each attack granted by the extra attacks special rule, so those 5 extra attacks it starts with this weapon. Boo. And is it going to be naff? Let's have a look. So it's strength user, so strength 5, AP dash, armor being 1, multiple wounds 2.
Mm,
Why AP dash? It's a maw.
I know.
And it's got
I
a fiery
know.
breath, which the strength characteristic of this weapon is equal to the model's remaining wounds. It's very much about keeping this damn thing alive and not getting wounded. So
Yeah.
it's a breath weapon template. Strength starts off with 5, AP 1, and it's got flaming attacks rule. Yeah. What's
Yeah.
your thoughts on a War Hydra?
It's 200 points. No
It's
thanks.
heavy, isn't it? For that, it's got it,
I would like it to be toughness 6 at the
it's
very
got.
least for 200 points.
Did I even say? Does it even have armor, or has it got regen? It's got
Uh,
no armor. What? So, no, it's got 5 armor. There we go. Yeah, it's just not
yeah.
got a name for it. Yeah, it's just armor say 5 up, 5 up. For 200 points.
Now, I like I say, to make it toughness 6 and like make it a little bit easier to kill. Oh, harder to kill. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay. Like,
toughness 6. I'd have took toughness 6 to make this thing that little bit better to keep the points where it is and drop the points to 175. It's a shame because I love the model. The War Hydra is
yeah.
it's very
It's
iconic.
iconic, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I do like the breath weapon. To be fair, if you can keep it alive to a point where you're going to get that breath weapon off at strength 6, not even strength. Sorry, not
So,
even that. Strength 5. No, you're again hard pass.
and
Yeah,
it, it's movement 6, so it's quite, you know, not super quick, not super slow either, which is nice. But if can you heal it at all? I don't even know if there's anything in this book that it can get you to heal this model. But
no.
what's next?
Well, we've actually got two more entries. Sorry, not one more. We've got the Blood Rack Medusa. So it's 85 points. It's a monstrous creature. It has movement 7, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, stroke 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, and 3 attacks. It has Petrifying Gaze, which we've already seen. Yeah, it's the same as before. It has what's else? It has a hand weapon and light armor, so 6 up save. Special rules as close order, elven reflexes, fear, frenzy, hatred, high elves, magic resistance -1, murderous, poison attacks, and stony stare. So those are the same, exact same as the Blood Rock Shrine.
Is it just a thing that's on a
It's just
shroud that's on a
it's just the thing on its own. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's all right. Yeah, 5 points isn't terrible,
85
but
points isn't terrible for anything, but it is toughness 4 with
yeah,
again light armor, and that's its only save.
yeah, yeah.
And
We're
it's not
getting
like
through these quite quickly, aren't we? Because a lot of them are not
well,
great.
the next thing there is the
The Charybdis,
Charybdis.
Charybdis, yeah,
Charybdis. So this is obviously something that looks a bit like the War
War
Hydra, isn't it?
Hydra.
So movement 6, weapon skill 5. This is strength 7. That's more like it.
There we
Toughness
go.
5, 5 wounds, 5 attacks, basic. That's more like it too. And it's 195 points. So you got a little bit cheaper than the War Hydra. So it's a Behemoth as well. Armor value of 5 up as well. It's got a car. It's got a maw and writhing tentacles. And then it's got 2 Beastmasters, which are the same. Beastmaster handlers, sorry, which have got helmets and whips. Special rules, it's got Abyssal Howl, Close Order, Immune to Psychology, Large Target, Monster Handlers, Stomp Attacks D3 +1, and it causes terror. The Abyssal Howl is, whilst within 6 inches of this model, enemy units suffer -1 modifier to their leadership characteristic to a minimum of 2. Note that this modifier is not cumulative. Boo hiss. Oh well. The Carvinus Moor is strength 7. Like strength user, sorry. So strength 7, AP 2, armor bane 1, killing blow. Right, that's more like it. In combat, this model must make one of its attacks each turn with this weapon. Oh, I thought it was going to be all of its attacks. That's a shame. And then
Well,
the rest of its attacks are Writhing Tentacles, which is strength user, strength 7, AP 2, poison.
that's actually not. I don't mind this as much. I mean, I would never take it, but it's 5 points. Why is it 5 points less than a War Hydra? Because as far as I can see, apart from the fact that it loses regen, it's better in every single way.
See, the thing is, if the War Hydra got to use multiple fire breaths, because how many heads does the Hydra have?
Yeah, enough to get +5 attacks, or
Like, if you could do five of those breath weapons, maybe.
yeah, exactly.
I feel like I prefer this to the War Hydra.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's just more solid, isn't it? And it doesn't
Strength
get
7.
worse. Why would you pay 5 points more for a model that is not great anyway and gets worse?
Yeah, it just doesn't
Um,
have like the regen, so it's a little bit easier to kill. Like a lot
yeah,
easier to kill, half as much. So
yeah.
last one, what we got?
Standard. It's a repeat bolt thrower.
We
Nothing
love
we
them.
haven't seen. Where do we put these are F tier? I think when we did our War Machine tier list, we should
No,
check out.
it's more the fact that it's a classic elf.
They do look really a lot cool in the high elf version, but they are literally exactly the same, apart from they have hatred high elves. There's nothing noteworthy at all, and they're 80 points, which is quite expensive, really, for what you get.
Yeah, you can take 0 to 2 of them, I believe it was per 1,000 points. You get
Yeah,
three of
get
them.
four. PS4 is all right. I mean, for a bolt thrower, it's not terrible.
Hmm. All right,
Uh, okay, so
magic items.
we are going to go through magic items now. I don't want to go through all these because we're on an hour already. All right.
All right,
So why don't we just go
get
through what
you
people
hot
usually see? Yeah, what people
All right.
what,
I'll start us off. So one of the cool things on here is the first one, which is the Executioner's Axe. So it's 70 points, so it's expensive, but you do tend to see some people take this on the Death Hag.
mm,
So it's Strength User, AP 2. It gets Killing Blow, Magical Attacks, Strike Last. Now, when making a roll to wound, for each hit caused with an Execution Axe or a roll of a 2 plus, it's always a success regardless of the target's toughness. So it's quite nice. 70 points is very expensive though for
um,
any item.
I just don't see why you'd take this over the Ogre Blade though. I mean,
Oh, sorry, actually, no. You see this taken on the Supreme Sorceress. Sorry, if you take
mm,
Illusion, don't you?
yeah,
If you're gonna go for Doppelganger. Sorry,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Switch it
so 2/6
okay.
extra attacks, always wounding on.
Twos is quite nice. Yeah,
That's delicious. That's very nice.
yeah. It's nice to be fair. It is nice. It is expensive, but it is nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the other sort of weapons we see? Some people take this Life Taker, which is a range 20, which is 35 points, range 24 weapon, strength 3, AP 1, armor bane 1, magical attacks, multiple shots D3 plus 1, and poison attacks. Uh, If this was 25 points, I can see why it gets taken sometimes, but you do, I mean, you can compare super competitively. For Dark Elves, you don't ever really see it, but you
Mm,
see it taking more traditional Dark Elf lists that people build. I think you want it on something that's got a high BS because it's got that multiple shots special rule for the -1 to hit, and it's just a range. It's a magical range attack. It's okay.
yeah.
Strength 3 is never amazing, but it's not terrible at the same time.
No.
Then you've
Yes.
got that's it for the four weapons choices anyway that you really see. You've got the
Hmm.
magic armors, you've got the shield of Grond, which you do see. So this is 40 points. The shield of Grond is a shield. In addition, all attacks directed against the bearer suffer a -1 to their strength characteristic. So if you see a big bad dreadlord where you're not going to go budget on him, you do sort of see this.
Mm,
Anything that modifies things like strengths when you're going to be throwing in a big dragon to like challenges, he's going to get challenged out against other people's characters. It's always quite good.
hmm.
Then you got the blood armor. Again, as somebody see, 30 points. It's a suit of armor that gives an armor value of 5 up. For each unsafe wound the wearer inflicts, this armor value is improved by 1 to a maximum of 2 plus. That's quite
Nice.
interesting.
It's not bad at all. The next, yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering how you can get them to a 2 plus because I'm swear you can do. What?
That
Oh, that yeah. So that wouldn't affect a black dragon though, would it? It's infantry or cavalry only.
I honestly don't think there is anything that gives the extra armor to give it to a armor save on
Unless you
suit.
give it the shield of Grond, could you give that to it?
Yeah, but that's not giving you. That's just giving you shield plus one armor save.
Yeah, it's four
You know,
plus, full plate, and then shield 3+, and then armored hide gets you 2+ on a
what's
black
giving you?
dragon.
There's a backdragon armored hide. No, it's not. Is it?
Does, does it not? I'm sure we went through this, did we not?
No, it does not. No.
Oh right, okay. Well, 3+.
The,
I
the,
suppose you get two
the only,
plus.
the only 2+ save that I know you get with this black dragon is if you have a sea dragon cloak, you get a 2-up save from shooting. From
Right, I see. Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's probably what everyone's on about.
Right, I see. I see. I do like the next thing that we're going to go through. Do you mind if I cover it?
Yeah, this is probably one of the best. This
Yeah,
items.
the Pennant of Caleth, which is you can see it on everything because it's really good. It's 40 points. It gives you a 5+ ward save against anyone suffered caused by a magic. If it's caused by a magical attack, sorry, attack
Just
of
attack.
strength of more, yeah, strength 4 or lower, and 4+ ward against anything that's by strength 5 or higher. It's basically Lady's Blessing from Brett's, but better.
Yeah,
40
it's
points.
10 points more than Talisman Protection, and just way better. Like those 10
Hmm.
points are well spent extra on top of it. Yeah, you
For
see this
sure.
all the time on any dragon user, and anybody who's probably not a dragon. Though, yeah,
Yeah, very cool.
it's really strong, really good item, really good
Hmm.
talisman. The other thing you don't really see, the Pearl of Infinite Bleakness, which just gives you immune to psychology. Then next up, we got Magic Standards. So you
Yeah,
got the Banner of Nagarath, 65 points. So a unit carrying the Banner of Nagarath against the Stubborn special roll, good. In addition, so you get two things, which is nice, especially for 65 points. When calculating its combat result, may claim additional +1 combat res. So you get your War Banner plus Stubborn. I
I
think.
think that's very expensive for 65 points, honestly.
Oh, actually, sorry, it's 65. Yeah, no, that it's expensive. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
ignore me. Ignore me. That is a bit expensive for that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, something's great, but um, the one that you see though in this list is Harganeth, which we talked about before. You can see it on the Core One Nights all the time. I would say it's auto take for them at the moment.
Oh yeah,
Everyone does take it.
25 points, 100% is yeah.
Yeah, and it gives you a +1 AP on all your attacks, including the mounts, which is so nice, so good.
Mm-hmm. Then the other ones you don't really Standard Slaughter. Yeah.
Um,
And then they got the two other bits. So you've got the enchanted items. I sometimes see the guiding eye if you're taking the like a big unit of shades, especially. So it's a single use, but it's 25 points so the champion can take it. Single use, the bearer of the guiding eye and any unit they have joined may reroll any failed rolls to hit made during the shooting phase. So if you're going to have that big blowout turn, you're popping all your spells off from,
yeah,
um, buffing the unit up to make them better APs and stuff like that. And you're going to just try and hit with everything for a turn. It's a bit like the high elf version in a way where they've got the handmaiden where they give the unit +1 to hit and wound. But I think that's probably better. But yeah, 25 points is good.
bro. Okay, do you want to go through the last section?
Yeah, you probably see. Well, I'd go through all three of these because you see these quite a
You
bit.
see them all. All right, that's fine. So we start with the black stuff. The bearer of the black
Not
stuff
so much that, but it's still good.
may use it when attempting to cast a spell. If they do so, roll an extra d6 when making the casted roll and discard the lowest result. However, if a double one is rolled on any of the two dice, the spell is a miscast. Yes, it's cool. It's really cool. It's 55 points. A lot of these items aren't terrible. They just seem to be like costed weirdly.
Some stuff's costed quite okay. I suppose maybe in comparison because some stuff's just ridiculous. But all army books have this problem, so it's
They
not
do.
the end of the world.
But the next thing that you're going to cover in a second, I think is ridiculously too cheap. Like ridiculous.
You can go over this too.
You want me to go through it? But this is what I mean. So Black Sabbath thinks is too expensive. Focus Familiar is too cheap. It's 10
Do you think it's
points.
cheap?
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. It's single use, and the owner of Focus because you can take so many of them. So it's,
Oh yeah,
it's
so
extremely common.
it's an asterisk item, so you can
Yeah,
take as many as you like. Yeah.
yeah. So you can take so many of them at 10 points each, and the owner of a Focus Familiar may use it when they attempt to cast a spell. Place a marker, such as a familiar model, completely within 12 inches of the owner. The range and all effects of the spell are measured from the marker rather than from the owner. If the spell requires line of sight, this is determined from the marker, which has a 360-degree vision arc. So all of a sudden, your pillars of fire aren't 12-inch range anymore; they're 24-inch range.
Yes.
Um, I, I think that's really good.
It is really good. There's like a thing I think where people are saying, well, do you get to dispel it like it's cast from there then as well? Which I think if you did, that would balance it out a fair bit.
Yeah,
But
potentially.
but otherwise, yes, very strong. You see, I think any level 4 that you see from Supreme Sorceresses and Dark Elf armies are taking like two or three, well, at least two of these. What one you can see as well, I suppose, but two's nice because the first couple of turns where you've got that distance between you and your opponent, you're able to throw these spells out without having to put yourself into spell range if it works like that. Yeah, it's
What
lovely.
happens to the familiar once you've cast it?
It just disappears, right?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that,
Well,
which is like I suspect that's what it's meant to be, and that's how I would play it. But like the problem is what the reason why I'm saying that is because if you're playing it from dispelling where the counter is, does it go once you've cast a spell? Do you know what I mean? You've got nowhere to actually measure to.
I suppose the language here, so single use, full
Yeah.
stop. Then the new sentence that the owner of a focus familiar may use it when they attempt to cast a spell. Place a marker complete within 12 inches of the owner. The range and all effects of the spell are measured from the marker rather than from the owner. If the spell requires line of sight, this is determined from each marker with 360 vision of art. So I suppose you could, what, you're trying to argue that,
I'm
okay,
not trying to argue anything. I would play it exactly how people are playing it because that is clearly how it's meant to
oh
be
yeah,
played.
I thought you were trying to say like
Um,
you could cheese out with this seeker. So right, the
but
spell I'm going to cast with my focus familiar is Pillar of Fire,
yeah,
and I place my token on the table. That
and
token
it's going to stay there forever.
remain there. So every time I cast Pillar of
Yeah,
Fire, which is the spell that I cast Focus familiar with, it's registered from there. And, I can kind of see that ish when
I'm honestly surprised no one's done it because I've just read it then and thought, well, what does happen with the familiar? I think the way people are playing it's fine. Like it disappears. It's 10 points. You can't have a board cover. That means you can always have everything in line of sight at a limited range potentially because you take a bunch of these focus familiars and throw them out every single time. You're going to cast something. Uh, I'm happy with them disappearing, but my argument would be if people are going to say, well, you dispel from where the marker is, the marker is not there anymore. The way people are playing it at the moment, as soon as that spell's cast, the marker gets picked up. Do you know what I mean?
people don't even tend to put a marker down. They just go right. It's going to be 12 inches,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that works personally. Um, I'd like it to though because I think 10 points. This should be 15 points, 20 points, not 10. You know.
Well, the last item anyway is the Tome of Furion, which is a 15 points. The bearer of the Tome of Furion knows one more spell chosen in the usual way than is normal for their level of wizardry. So standard that 15 points for an extra spell. A few armies have that. Elves, uh,
Hmm.
vampire counts have it, and
Chaos of it.
Chaos have spell familiars. Yeah, so fairly
Hmm.
standard. Some armies have it where you can take multiples though. In this army, you can't. It's just not. It's not got asterisks next to it because instead you got the spamming of the focus. Fair enough. And that's it for magic items. So that's the codex as a whole. And general thoughts, Tom. What do you think about Dark Elves?
I think they're really cool. Yeah, I mean, like there are some hilarious unit entries that just never gonna like. You don't know what they were thinking when they wrote them, like the War Hydra, and I would like to see a lot of the elite infantry to be a little bit better, just a little bit more survivable. Uh, but we've seen that they can do really well. The double black dragon list is really good. I do like their character choices. Um, and they've got some pretty cool rules. Uh, I just think that some of the points costs. That's what has really stuck out to me actually going through this because I've never really sat down and gone through it entry by entry, and some of the points costs are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
200 points for a Hydra, 65 points for that banner. When the next one actually, the one underneath that, the banner underneath that is 40 points. I would take that every time because every time you charge, you get plus D3 to your combat res. I think that's well better.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah, I
like
think it's why you see a lot of Dark Elf armies that we're talking about from a tournament perspective where they do quite well tend to all look very much the same, where it's dragons, then it's the core's taken up by 3 units of expensive Dark Riders,
yeah,
and then after that it's you're taking a cold one bus or just a unit of 5 or so cold ones. Sometimes you see people taking the repeater cross the what's it called? The repeater bolt throwers. Sometimes you see people take 2 or 3 of those. I've seen a fair few lists in some of the other countries where they take 2 or 3 of those in the Dark Elf lists, and again they're doing quite well. So, but you don't really see anyone taking competitively like tournaments, the War Hydras, the Caradribisses,
The
things like
Gridru.
that.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to say that the name of that. And or the Doomfire Warlocks, which is a shame. I quite like the idea of those. Just wish they were a little bit better compared to Sisters of the Thorn. I think they
That's the problem.
spoiled me a little bit.
What you shouldn't do is try and compare everything to the other. I feel like Dark Elves have a lot of things that are available in the other elf lists that are just maybe strictly better in the other elf lists. Sisters of the Fawn being one of them.
Mm.
The High Elf being able to re-roll a cast per phase and then doing it once per game is another one. But I think they're pretty cool. Yeah,
You just got to
I
play on the
think-
strengths, I suppose, and like one of the annoying items that you hate there is a bit of a strength for them to begin with the extra range on spells, so they
I
can get
love that spell. I love
yeah
that item. Don't get me wrong. I
they
just
can
think
get some like battle magic and spells and stuff going quicker than other armies, which is nice. That's one of their
Mhm.
strengths, I guess. Their dragons obviously quite tough. You can build a double dragon list fairly well with them. And they've got the decent, I'd say decent core with the way you
Mhm.
can spend the points in that core section, and it being like cavalry base where it's fast and skirmishing and can hide and get out of dodge, because you just don't want to you don't want to have units of 5 Glade Guard at least that that are going to get shot and killed. Not that they're expensive or anything, but it's still a static unit that you maybe don't want to have in your list, especially in this sort of day and age with competitive old world. But I also like the fact with Dark Elves in non sort of competitive games, maybe playing a bit more friendly, is that the lists look cool with the ranked up Blackguard and Executioners. And then these bigger monsters and stuff that you tend not to see there. I'd love to see a big block of Witch Elves with a Blood Shrine stuff next to them. Seeing how that looks on the table, I bet it does look cool.
Yeah, I bet it does. Yeah, I played against like I said, I played against the big witch hag bomb with
Oh yeah,
the death hag and the ogre blade, and it really does mince if it gets there, but it's still on foot. And the fact that it's frenzied, you can frenzy bait it out and all that kind of stuff. I just yeah, I feel like Dark Elves will, if missions come into play and we got objectives, I think you'll see a lot of variation there. Because they have got some pretty cool infantry units. To be fair, it's just there are better options at the moment.
that's it. That's the problem with most armies. Is just there
Yeah.
feels like there's better options, but
Mm.
yeah, overall, I do like the Dark Elf book. Everyone loves Dark Elves, don't they? In some fashion, everyone likes the evil side of things. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Well, if you agree with anything that we've said, if you disagree with anything that's said, please leave us a comment. I think that's probably about all we've got time for really today. Do you have any other thoughts, Andy, before we sign off this video?
no, I just enjoyed going through an army book from start to finish where we didn't practice it at all
I know it's good, isn't
beforehand.
it?
So
And I feel like actually, when you sit down and go through each data sheet, I feel like I'll know a lot more about Dark Elves now than I did before, even though I've played them a few times, all that kind of stuff.
it's mostly stats. Going through the stats of somebody. Obviously, you could spend a lot longer going through combos and the intricacies of the codex and how it all works together potentially. But you get a general overview there in what, an hour ish time. You now know more, which is nice. And if anyone's sort
Hmm.
of listening to this, maybe in the car or something,
Hopefully, they do. Yeah,
yeah, they know a little bit
absolutely.
more about some of the stats and stuff. But yeah, we should do another one.
Yeah, I
Take
think
Dark Elves out and spin it again for next time.
absolutely. So if you'd like to see this kind of video again, this really was born out of a lack of things to talk about, and I think it's pretty good actually. I've really enjoyed it. So please leave us a comment. I won't say the usual YouTube stuff because I can't stand it, but you know
You're
we've
gonna
got.
say it. He's gonna say it. He's gonna say
No,
it.
I'm not. We've got our end screen for that, just because I find it a bit awful. But leave a comment for sure. We've got really great interaction in the last video, so please keep that up, because we love getting back to people and sort of seeing what they think about what we say, because we are wrong. a lot of the time. I'm wrong all the
I
time.
just started to say a 65-point magic banner was great, and then I realised what I was saying. It was the wrong sort of item.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I was
Well,
wrong.
no, to be fair, stubborn and +1 combat res is good.
Not for 65 points.
Not for 65 points, no.
Nothing in
Right,
that codex you're going to take that on anyway.
exactly. Right, so that's it for this time. We are going to try and get videos out more regularly. We'll see you in the next one.
So, yeah, that's all.
Bye.
Bye.